Hey, what's up, YouTube? So it's your favorite broker from Atlanta, Georgia. It's Wayne Chappelle. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another day of addressing challenges in the real estate industry. And, for those of you that don't know me or haven't watched any of my previous videos, my name is Wayne Chappelle. I am a licensed active broker here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also licensed in 4 states overall throughout the Southeast. So that would be Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. And, I always post this, and it's not to brag and it's not to boast. But I do want to make a correction. I noticed from my other video. And if you get to know me, up to this point, I'm not editing videos. I don't have time to edit videos. I'm just recording the videos on my phone, on my cell phone. I have a Samsung Note. I hit the play button, I hit record, and what you see is what you get, pretty much. But as I go back through my videos, I realize that I misspoke and say different things. So going through my last video, I did realize that I said, as far as my sales volume was, it was $1 billion. So I want to stand and correct that, because at this point I have sold over $250 million. So not a billion, $250 million. That's 250 million in sales volume. And I'm only taking it into account right now, which is Georgia, because that encompasses my full 13 years in the real estate industry. But like I said, I am licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. And I haven't taken into account all of those numbers collectively. And the reason I stopped, at $250 million or 250 million, with over 1,000 transactions that are closed in the books at this point, under my name, is because, there's no need to go further than that. In my career, I have done more than $250 million in real estate sales volume, but these are just the numbers that I'm posting right now. I'm not going to provide an update every video of how much I've attained up to this point, but I set out a goal to achieve $250 million in real estate sales, in sales volume, and I have achieved that goal, and I have well surpassed that goal. And my other goal was to close over 1,000 transactions, which I have done. And up to this point in my 13-year career, which is fairly short when you look at it, there's people that have been in this industry for 30, 40 years. And haven't achieved the level of success that I have achieved, but I always give tribute and pay homage to my team, because everybody on my team is a top sales producing agent. There's nobody on my team that hasn't sold over $10 million in real estate. And, for some, it's a lot more than that. It's 20, 30, 40, 50 million in real estate. So I always pay homage to my team, because I alone, as an individual, could not achieve by myself. I mean, sure, there's others that probably have done it, but in my market, which is the Southeast, the average price point is $250,000, right? So it took a while to get to this point, but I have surpassed that number, both in transactions closed and in sales volume. But I have not done that solely by myself. That is through the support of my team. So I'm truly thankful to them, and truly grateful and truly blessed to be at this point in my real estate career, where I can kind of transition and provide my experience and my knowledge to help and serve others. So that is the point of my YouTube channel. That is why I'm here. And like I said from my previous videos, I started this channel back in 2013, but I never posted a video. And back then, I don't even remember why I started the channel, but it's very clear to me today of my mission and why I'm pursuing this channel, why I picked it up from where it was. And, now I'm into producing these videos, and the sole purpose of that is to help others. So with that being said, I was at an event at a local brokerage here today, and I was speaking at that event. And it was kind of a mastermind event, right? And it's related to the real estate market today, right? And it's quite troubling, being the speaker at this event. Number one, and to get feedback. I'm trying to get a vibe off of the audience that I'm addressing, and there's these are mostly seasoned agents. Some are top producers, some are mediocre, some are just in the game kind of as a hobby. But what I found, from speaking to this audience, to this group of people, is that getting into what's going on with this industry, a lot of people that I've engaged with today are making excuses, right? Whether they were a top producing agent at one point and now their business is struggling, or they're a mediocre agent. They do a couple deals a year to maybe 10, 20 deals a year, to the average agent who's doing 12 deals a year. They're closing one deal a month. That is a spectrum of the audience that I was addressing today while I was speaking to them. And I'm thankful for having the opportunity. I'm always thankful when I can get in front of an audience and speak and share my views and my knowledge. So in the beginning of our conversation, or our meeting, when I was addressing the audience, I get feedback from them, and I'm trying to get a vibe from the audience so I know how to gauge my presentation. So right off the bat, when I started addressing things in the industry and I engage for feedback, a lot of the feedback is a lot of negative feedback, so to speak, where people are upset with what's happening with today's industry. And rightfully so. If you haven't figured out a way how to work with the industry and how it's changing today, and like I mentioned in other videos, the quote unquote disruptors, you're struggling right now, and that's quite understandable. But the thing that I found and what this video is about making excuses. So I engage the audience, and I try to address this in a way to help them understand, is that you need to stop making excuses, right? You can sit here and not be happy with the way the industry is going, right? And I'll give you my perspective several years back when the industry started having disruptors enter the marketplace. And initially I was upset, right? Because I was struggling at that point, and I'm trying to compete with my fellow agent, a broker to my left and to my right to get business. I'm out, I'm a listing agent, that was my primary focus of business. And I referred buyers that came to me, but I primarily focus on listings. So I was always going into listing appointments where you pull up to the house and you have a Keller Williams agent coming out of the house, and or a Remax agent that was there an hour prior, and then you have a Century 21 agent or somebody else pulling up right behind you as you're coming out from doing your listing presentation. So it was very competitive. So having to deal with that, and not only to have additional competition come in the market, the quote unquote disruptors, the companies that were coming in, I felt a certain kind of way myself, right? And immediately I started making excuses for why my business was struggling, and why I'm having such a difficult time. But what I addressed the audience with was to stop making excuses, right? Once you stop making excuses of why you're not successful or why you're having challenges, then you can focus on, you can stop focusing on making excuses, and you can start focusing on resolutions and solving the problem at hand. So that's what I'm encouraging today, right? So having spoke to this audience, I asked the audience, what is their biggest problem, right? And what you find out, and what I find out when I get responses to those answers, it all boils down to, when you pull back the layers of the onion, they're not addressing their clients' needs in the current marketplace. So if you have another business, a new kid on the block that comes in that's addressing those needs that you weren't addressing to begin with, right? So you may have repeat clients that you have that, have done business with you in the past and all has been well. And now they're looking at other ways of doing business now, right? Liquid, when you think about real estate is not a liquid asset. Typically you can't just, have a piece of real estate and, trade it like you would trade a stock, or, go down to the, the car dealer like you would a car and trade your car and trade a piece of real estate. And typically that hasn't been the case. Now, in this marketplace, that is changing, right? You can actually go online, submit an offer request that, they call them iBuyers, right? These internet buyers or instant buyers, whichever way you want to look at it. But you can go online and pretty much, request an offer on your piece of real estate, on your property that's selling. If it fits in their buy box or their criteria, they're going to make an offer on it. And you can close fairly quickly. Now, as a traditional real estate agent or a broker, your primary business was marketing properties. You weren't in the business of buying properties unless you were an investor. So a lot of the feedback I get, and that I got from this meeting today is, they're making excuses of, how this is not how we operate. These people can't come in here and do this to us because they're ruining our business. And what I presented to the audience was, stop making excuses, right? You're looking at this all wrong. If you want to be successful in this business, you should be happy that these organizations, these companies, the iBuyers, the individuals, it's mostly companies, but you do have some individual, small mom and pop operations trying to mirror what the big companies are doing. And they're adapting their business to, meet the current demand. And with the real estate agent, whether you've been successful, whether you're feeling the impact or whatever that you have going on at this point with your business, where you're losing sales and losing volume and losing customers and clients, stop making excuses and look at the value of it. So if these companies are serving a need, right, to your former clients or your future clients, or people that you thought you had a stronghold on who are now leaving in droves, to do business a different way, how do you get yourself in front of that business, right? How do you become the nucleus that you were? If you've been in the business for any amount of time, you know that prior to Zillow, you were the nucleus when it came to real estate. You were the center. They had to come to you. The consumer, the customer, the client had to come to you to get access to that piece of real estate. The information, you were the gatekeeper. And the Zillows came along, and now you're no longer the gatekeeper. The Trulias came along, you're no longer the gatekeeper, right? And now with the industry changing now, where real estate is becoming liquid, right? You can, go online and get an offer on your home and sell it, within a couple of days is pretty spectacular. So stop making excuses and figure out how to get yourself in front of the business, how to get back to being the nucleus of this center of attraction for your potential clients and consumers. If that's where the business is going and that's where the market is going, like I said in previous videos, the train has left the station. You can't stop the train, okay? You're going to get run over if you don't figure out a way how to adapt your business to work with these companies that are providing a viable solution to your clients and customers. So one of the things that I suggested in this mastermind group to help solve their problem, right? The problem was, after we got past all the, making excuses, the problem is my business is being impacted, and how and what do I do to solve this problem? And that was the reason I was there, right? And my solution to that problem was, like I said, become the nucleus again. You need to get back into being the center of that business. So if that's where the direction that your client or consumer is going, you need to be going in that direction as well. And how you solve that issue is by working with these different companies that are providing solutions. You can partner with these companies. You can also refer business to these companies. You can still represent your clients. And what I highly recommend, like I said, I started off my business. My niche was in real estate referrals, right? I did a ton of referrals before I even sold a piece of real estate. And there's nothing wrong with doing referrals if that's what you want to do. You have to decide what your business is going to be. But what I've learned over the years, when you refer business out, that business usually never comes back to you because you're referring it to another agent, to another entity, to another company. And now that client that you had, that you referred, now becomes the other agents, brokers, entities, client. And then, if you're not on top of that and you can't service them anymore, or you lose contact with them, or they feel like the person you referred them to can do a better job than you can, you're not going to make any more money off of that client that you referred. So referrals is one thing. Like I said, I built a sustainable business doing it. But what I've learned over time is that you want to be the center and the nucleus of that customer's need. So however that environment changes, you always move with the customer. You remain the center and the nucleus for that customer's solution. So what I do recommend is that you can partner with companies and you can also represent your client in solving those needs. So if they need to sell their home right away and they need liquidity from that property for whatever reason, whether they're relocating, they just don't want to be in the home, or they're trying to make some other moves, you can represent that client, right? You can represent them. You can get an exclusive brokerage agreement with that client and represent them as a client versus as a customer. So I highly recommend that because you're providing a solution to their problems, right? So being in that position is where you create value, and you create value for the client and you create value for yourself and your business. If you're not the nucleus and you're not the center of what's going on, then you're outside of that. You're not the one that's solving these problems. There's other businesses and companies doing that. And in today's market, it's becoming increasingly competitive, not just from your fellow agents and brokers, but from these companies that are coming in, and they're not dominating the market. They're increasing their market share, but there is by far they have not dominated the market, and I don't think they'll get to that point where they're dominating the market. They're providing value in a segment within the industry to consumers, but you have to, like I said before, you have to learn how to think smart in your business. So remain the nucleus, remain the center of your customers' issues that they need to solve. So if they have a goal and they're trying to sell quick, or they just want to know, hey, can I sell my home, like I sell my car? You should be able to provide that solution to them. Say, yes, you can, and here's how you can do it, and let me help you navigate through this difficult process, right? It's not an easy process selling real estate. It's becoming easier, but there's a lot of specific knowledge that you need to know, and the average consumer doesn't know that. So, and on top of that, and the industry has a bad name altogether because a lot of consumers in general don't know what is the true value of a broker, of an agent. You list my home, you help me buy a home, and you're making, 3%, 6%, or what have you. Wow, that seems like a lot of money. And really, you're just, turn the key, open the door for me so I can see a property. You're filling out, some paperwork on some contracts and stuff like that. And you show up at closing and get a big paycheck. So there's a lot of things that we do as real estate professionals that the average consumer has no clue what we do. And that's something that needs to be educated. Consumer needs to be educated on that, but also the consumer that is your client or your potential client or customer needs to be educated on how you are the best option to help them. So with that being said, I challenge you to stop making excuses about why your business is being impacted by the quote unquote disruptors of today's market and figure out solutions to that problem. And once again, that is why my channel is here. I like to have these discussions. Let's solve these problems together. Like I said, I've already hit a plateau where I wanted to be in my real estate career. So I have nothing else left to prove as far as production and sales volume. I'm here to help you. I'm here to solve problems. There's a big problem we have in the real estate industry with the high failure and the high dropout. I did a previous video on the real estate dropout, and there's many of them. So I'm trying to change that around. And being able to change that around, what I need from you guys, because I can't do that by myself, I need your help. I need you to post down in the comments below your thoughts and your feedback on this topic, so that we can have a discussion, so that we can, solve these problems. Just like when I was in my speaking presentation today, I solved the problem for a bunch of agents who were struggling, who initially started out making excuses of why their business was suffering, and I provided a solution to their problem. And that solution being working with these so-called, quote unquote disruptors to best provide value and service to your clients. Don't let companies steal your clients, because you can either be in the center, the nucleus of your customer and clients' needs, or they're going to migrate to these companies that are going to do that. So if you can stay in the center of that and provide that value, along with using these companies as tools and resources to make that happen, and still be compensated when all is said and done, you're still making money, you're creating value for your clients and customers, and it's a win-win for everybody. So it's a win-win for the AKA so-called disruptors that are coming into the industry, because they're able to buy and sell homes that, you're in the center of that deal working with your client. It's a win-win for your client, the consumer, because you solved a tremendous need that they were trying to do, being that liquid is not really, being that real estate is not really a liquid asset. So I challenge you, leave the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. As always, please like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. And once again, this channel is for you guys. It has my name on it. It's the Wayne Chappell channel. But I'm using this as a conduit to share my knowledge, share my resources, share my experiences. But like I said, my knowledge, experience, and resources is very small compared to, us as a community. So being able to take the opportunity to provide this channel and spark debate, spark discussion, and provide solutions to what the challenges that we're having in real estate is going to be tremendous for everybody. So please like and subscribe, and leave your comments and feedback below. And until then, I will see you guys on the next video. Have a blessed day and go out and crush it.